Hi everybody, my name is Barry Schwartz and this is a Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, March 23rd, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable, seroundtable.com over the past week. First, the big news is Google has reverted. They have reverted the zero search results that we discussed last week, where Google would show you zero search results on the search results page. It would only come up obviously for calculator, conversions, and time-based queries. But Danny Sullivan has an update, and he posted on Twitter saying, update, we have enough data and feedback which is appreciated to conclude that the condensed view experiment, which I guess they called it a condensed view, should stop for now. The team will look at improving when and how it appears. So I don't know if it's completely done. It seems to be done. It's hard to know if Google's going to bring it back or not, but as of now, they tried to ship it and they had to revert it. So in any event, I made a big stink of it. Truth is, I don't know how many people it impacted. It was, people searching for what time it is in London getting the time in London is pretty useful. I don't necessarily see the benefit of not showing the search results. Did it really speed up the page that much? I don't know. I'm not sure. But in any event, they're gone for now. The Google Core search update, which happened, I think March 7th, March 8th, the fluctuations are still going on. There was some die down this week a little bit, but it seems like it's picking up again a little bit. So Google still might be tweaking it. It might be still rolling out. There's definitely some discussions going on and chatter and fluctuations and so forth around that update. It might be other things, who knows, but there's still a lot of discussion going on around that. And Google's Nathan Johns from the search quality team, he's a search quality analyst, he confirmed at the AMA at XMX that it happened. Actually, the release was March 7th. So it was like a Thursday night type of release, and obviously people started noticing it on the 8th, as early as the 8th and 9th. So it's good to have confirmation about the date it was released as well. This I posted this morning. I said, is Google Flight Search, Google Flights spamming Google Search? So Martin McDonald went ahead and notified me on Twitter that when he goes to Google Flights, he sees in the footer all these links. Again, looks spammy, like flights to Africa, flights to Asia, flights to Australia, yada, yada, yada. And then there's basically like these like Dore content, spammy types of links, which you see on lots of sites, but you shouldn't really see it from a Google site, a Google property. In addition to that, I went there and I couldn't see it. Those links are not there. So supposedly I'm seeing the beta. But what gets more interesting is the Google cache doesn't see it. But if you're using a Google user agent, a Googlebot user agent, the Googlebot user agent does see it when they render the pages. We think. We're not sure. Obviously, we can't be exactly sure. But if you do a site command, you'll see tons and tons of results coming up for Google Flights. So flights to Atlanta, Boston, Sydney, Yuma, etc., etc. The list goes on and on. I'm not even sure why Google needs it, because when you go do a search for Google Flights to Atlanta, the Google Sponsored box comes up with Google Flight Search automatically, taking up pretty much the whole entire search result screen. I did ping John Mueller and Danny Sullivan at Google about this over 24 hours ago. I had no response asking, hey, are you guys cloaking or something? What's going on? Please explain yourselves. Google has caught themselves cloaking unintentionally before, back in 2005. And also back in, I think, 2010 with AdWords. And they actually banned themselves and penalized themselves for doing so. Not exactly sure what's going on. Google has not responded to me, but it's always fun and interesting when Google themselves look like they're actually violating the Google guidelines, and we'll see more if Google responds. John Mueller said at XMX Munich this week that Google Search Console will give you guys an FYI on when your site has or does transition over to the Google Mobile First Index. Not really over to it, but when Google Mobile First Indexing actually happens to your website. So there's going to be a switch over. The crawler will go from a desktop first perspective to a mobile first perspective on each and every site at one point. And Google's doing that slowly, but Google said, John Mueller said that they will send FYI messages when that actually happens, so you guys could debug and figure out what's going on there. Google this week launched big news around publishers and news publications, specifically around a feature called Subscribe with Google. And it basically gives users like you and I a quick way of subscribing to different newspapers using Google Search, and that lets you then go ahead and pretty much use that subscription across all your mobile devices when you're logged into Google. So it's a very quick way to, subscribe to the Wall Street Journal for whatever they're charging, yearly or monthly or day pass, whatever plans they have. And because of that, Google's kind of partnering with these places. Google's partnered with about a dozen or so early large launch partners, including USA Today and Washington Post, et cetera, et cetera. And Danny Sullivan said that today was a big step. In a short period, Google has shifted from a first-click free model, which now is the flexible sampling model, to a subscription support within search, and that's a massive shift. It's true, it is a massive search. Google never wanted to do this type of stuff in the past. They never really helped some news publishers do what they needed to do, but now they're doing that. So it is a massive shift, and we'll see what happens with that. Google Search Console in the beta has launched new features. Specifically, Google said on Twitter that they made a visual reporting updates to the Google Search Console, the new version, the beta. Annotation cards, difference columns, filters and compares, and also improvements to the day picker and comparison view. So definitely play around with that. Google's honestly adding a lot of new features and tweaking things on not a daily basis, but on a very frequent basis in the new Google Search Console. So definitely take a look at that. Google said you can and should use non-English URLs for non-English pages. John Mueller released an SEO snippets video around that, so definitely take a look at that if you have a non-English website. Also said 404s are normal. They don't necessarily hurt your SEO or rankings. Obviously, if the page is 404ing, that page won't rank, but in general, your website won't suffer if a 404 is 404ing on purpose because that content's no longer there. Again, a topic we discussed many, many times, but there's a video out on it now. Google said only clicks to your website are counted as clicks in the Google Search Console and the Google Search Analytics. So if you see something like this with a phone number and they click on the phone number and it goes to a phone, it's not going to your website, then that's not actually counted as a click in Google Search Console Search Analytics. Google's Nathan Johns and also John Mueller said that no follow really hasn't changed in terms of how it works. If a link is no followed, Google doesn't pass any signals away from that link. So that's, again, confirmed by Google. No changes have been made in the past dozen years or so. Google said, here's a bug. The Google Site command, if you do a filter within the past hour in the Site command with no additional query information, Google's going to show you that there's no results. So here's a screenshot from the New York Times. The site, New York Times, past hour, nothing. Wall Street Journal, past hour, nothing. If you add a query to that, like fire or whatever, Google will show you results. It's a bug. Google's looking into it. We're not sure what's going to be fixed, but this really only impacts SEOs and webmasters looking for different things. Google's testing a show more results button. We saw this back in July 2017 and December 2017. So this little button, more results, showing less search results, but having a more results button there. Here's another example of it as well, and more examples. So we've seen many examples of Google testing this, and Google keeps testing this in the future. Google on Google Shopping launched some big news earlier this week around enabling Google Home devices and Google Assistant devices to make purchases online. So basically, it's voice shopping. Google announced it says this program gives customers an easy way to shop for your products on the Google Assistant and search with a universal cart, whether they're on mobile, desktop, or even on a Google Home device. It's pretty cool. Basically, you could say, buy me whatever. It'll give you results, either Google Express or whatever, and let you buy. It's definitely not an organic search feature. It's like Google Shopping, AdWords feature. There was a lot of confusion around that when it first launched, but it is an ad feature, not an organic feature. Google AdWords announced that if your account has zero ad spend in the past 15 months or so, Google will deactivate your account next week. That's a new policy they have. They're doing to kind of speed things up. So again, if you make sure you have some ad spend in there, if you don't, Google will deactivate your account. Google AdWords added a version history for ad changes. So if you make ad changes, you want to see how it performed before and after the ad changes. Google has this new report that shows you the differences in how it performed in a version history type of view, which is cool. Google Local Panel is testing an About tab. So you can actually see that here. Here's a screenshot from Sergey. You can see here there's a new About tab over here. So that's pretty cool. Sorry, I'm going really fast. I'm not feeling so great. Google My Business has added a new secondary updates classic category. And basically, secondary updates is basically a way for you not to be notified about smaller changes to your Google My Business profile. Things like if you, Google said like things like if somebody adds a non-sensitive attribute like serves breakfast or something, those type of additions might not notify the business owner of those changes to kind of reduce the nice types of notifications that you're getting. Google is shutting down some Google Plus pages. A lot of people got notifications this week from Google Plus about these changes because they haven't made any updates to their Google Plus page in a while, which is not surprising. And finally, like to obviously honor certain people. The search community like to honor certain people in their search engines this week, specifically Eric Wu, David Sayes, Stoney DeGray, Dr. Pete Myers, and Emily Mace. Of course, we'd like to thank you for all your contributions to the search community over the past years and years and years, and we really do appreciate everything you do. The search community honors you. In any event, thanks so much for listening to the Search Boz video recap. Again, today is March 23rd. Sorry, not feeling so great, and I hope everyone has a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next. Bye.